If you want to hear about St. Louis, tune in to the Bucket List Show weekly. Hear what Marissa and Luke say. It drops every Wednesday. Got a dope new guest every single week. Buckle up for the ride. Who's it gonna be? Who's on the show today? They rep St. Louis. What to do in the loo on a late night, or maybe what to do on a date night. Yeah, Bucket List has you covered. They know what's going on. What's going on? They'll give you, hey, 18 different things to do, or 19 if you need one more to choose. Yeah, the city is a place we call home. A place we call home, yeah.
Hey guys, thank you guys for tuning in to another episode and another week of the STL Bucket List Show. I'm your host, Marissa Farrell.
And I am your other host, Lucas Farrell. And we couldn't do this show without our friends over at the Regional Arts Commission of St. Louis. They're the largest public funder of arts and art programming right here in the city of St. Louis. And this summer is full of free art events in the city because of organizations like the Regional Arts Commission. And we have a special episode for you today. We wanted to talk a little bit about it. If you guys didn't know, today is June 28th.
6/28.
6:30 is coming up on Friday for those listening. Some people don't get to listen to the episode until Friday. But 6:30 day is Arch Day. Mm-hmm. And we have a special guest. We have the literal Gateway Arches in our studio today. we brought it into the studio. But no, on a real note, we got Ryan McClure of the Gateway Arch Park Foundation. Thank you for making the time to come in today.
Oh my gosh, thanks for having me, Lucas and Marissa. It's great to be here.
Yeah, we're excited.
And we got you. You're kind of riding high on the anniversary right now, so out of the country and all that. You got a trip coming up.
Yeah, that's right. We do. Yeah, my wife and I get to take advantage of that great new direct flight to Frankfurt that the Greater St. Louis Inc. and all. It's so many partners were involved in making happen. That's just an exciting thing for our region, and I'm excited to personally take advantage of it.
Yeah, you're going to have a blast. What a great trip. 15-year anniversary.
Yes.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So everybody in St. Louis knows about the Arch, but we want to know a little bit more about your story.
Yeah.
So if you could just touch on, maybe a little bit about your childhood, kind of like growing up, in previous careers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
If you just want to give us an overview of who you are.
Yeah, absolutely. So I grew up in Jefferson City, Missouri. So my parents were both in state government. So, there's a long public service background in our family that led to my sister and I both kind of being in that space. But I grew up driving from Jeff City to baseball games. I mean, we Mid-Missouri diehard Cardinal fans. And I remember going to the Arch as a kid, going to the McDonald's riverboat that people remember so fondly. It's funny. It's like when we were in the middle of the renovation project, I'd say 75% of the presentations I gave, people would ask, is the McDonald's riverboat coming back? It's not back yet, but there's always a chance. But anyway, I remember as a kid looking up at this magnificent structure and being inspired then. And, I would not have, as little 6-year-old Ryan thought that I would ever be working at this park. And I've obviously gained much more of an appreciation of what it means in so many ways, both to our city as its undeniable symbol to the entire world, what it means to the history of America, and how we continue to evolve how we talk about the history of our country, which was a big part of the CityArchRiver Project and remains to be so. So went to the University of Missouri for college. I did move to St. Louis right before high school. So I did go to high school here and then went to Mizzou for college. And I've been in St. Louis ever since then. Live in the city of St. Louis. My wife and I are raising our family there. We live in the Shaw neighborhood and committed to the city both personally and professionally.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love the Shaw neighborhood.
Yeah. I know. I was going to say it's one of the
We're
best.
pretty close to there. We're on the other side of the park, Southampton area.
Oh, yeah. Great.
Yeah. We're on the other side of the park.
So many great neighborhoods in St. Louis. Yeah.
All little pockets.
Right.
Absolutely. So, you touched a little bit about on your, like how you were in awe of this huge structure. Yeah. So when did you decide to apply to work there? And then also, what stood out about the mission of what they were building there that kind of drew you to kind of join up and help with that mission?
Yeah, so I've been with Gateway Arch Park Foundation since 2011, so a little over 10 years altogether. I when I started my career, I got to work on some really cool projects when I was at Fleischman Hillard that were all about civic improvement. And that's where I really caught on fire for the potential of this city and really wanting to be part of initiatives and efforts to make it be all that it can be. When the CityArchRiver Project started as an idea, they were hiring for a communications director, and I called everybody I knew that might be able to help me get that job because it is and remains a dream job. There's nothing else in the world I would rather be doing professionally than this. I mean, really personally, I'm just very fortunate to be able to do it. So the organization has really evolved. At that point, it was really about building the support for this huge civic improvement project, the largest public-private partnership ever in the history of the National Park Service. And now our organization has evolved into a conservancy that is all about not only taking care of what was in conjunction with all of our partners, the National Park Service, Great Rivers Greenway, City of St. Louis, Bi-State, and Jefferson National Parks Association, many partners takes to do this, but not only about taking care of what was built, but continuing it to evolve it into the future. And we can only do that through private donations and folks that are, as part of their personal philanthropy, personal or corporate philanthropy, care about what we're doing. And one of the things we're really fortunate to have is, yes, we are so fortunate to have a national park in the middle of downtown. That is not
right.
That's not something you find everywhere.
Yeah,
it's very
incredible.
unique. But what's also unique is to St. Louis, that's ours. Yes, it's a national park, but it belongs to St. Louis. It, like I said, it undeniably represents us to the entire world. And that's why people chose to give $250 million in private money to renovate the arch and millions of dollars now annually to make that happen, to maintain it. So that was a long answer to how I got there,
great.
but it's a mission that we're really, really passionate about, and we're thankful that a lot of people are joining us in that.
That's amazing.
So in terms of our park, right, the
Yeah.
Arch Grounds, how is that separate from other national parks? Like what things are we doing completely different than what other people would see?
Yeah, well, a lot. Things that what national parks, every national park site in America is special. That's really part of the entire mission of the National Park Service is to preserve America's special places for the enjoyment of the American people and our visitors. So, but the arch, and I'm biased, obviously, but I've also through this work gained a really strong appreciation for all of our national park sites. But, to have 91 acres in the middle of downtown that is set aside as a national park, right? You have that. So it's an urban park that's more connected to our city than it's ever been in its history. But then you have the tallest man-made monument in the Western Hemisphere. And then you have a world-class museum underneath the arch that is, if you haven't been since 2018, you got to check it out. It's vastly different.
We have to add it to our list.
Yeah.
We used to go
Yes,
field
we
trips there,
haven't.
but that was back in school. So that was over.
And we tried to go,
Yeah.
but it was
Sold out.
Yeah,
You guys have been
sold out
selling out a
that
lot.
day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We've been fortunate. Visitation is definitely picking up. And
Yeah, that's
which
awesome.
is amazing.
Yeah.
So it's the tallest man-made monument in the smallest national park. That's a fun fact.
Yeah, that's great. I hadn't really thought about it that way.
Because it's the smallest national park with the biggest monument.
Yeah, it's
Or
the smallest
Tallest.
national park unit with the name national park in it, right?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
and that has a pretty special cachet that comes along with it if national park is in your name.
Yeah.
And until 2018, the official name of the park was Jefferson National Expansion Memorial. And I think it's fair to say that most people in St. Louis did not know the arch by that name.
Yeah.
So we were able to get legislation passed in 2018, right before the renovations opened, to rename the park Gateway Arch National Park.
Yeah.
So it really hasn't had that name for very long. But
People would just say the
5
Arch.
years.
The Arch
yeah, they would
Park,
say the Arch or the Garage
Park.
Grounds.
Yeah.
But now that it's called Gateway Arch National Park, we hope that it does, raise awareness and appreciation for the fact that it is a national park unit.
So as it became a national park, like tell us about that process. How hard or difficult was that for you guys to make that change to Gateway Arch, National Park? Like just tell us about what that meant for you and your career and like working there. And
yeah. And I do have to, it's very important to say that we don't do any of this alone. We have a lot of partners that we work with. So this legislation that was passed, was supported by the entire St. Louis congressional delegation and both senators at the time. So it actually moved rather quickly in 2018, and it had to, it's legislation that passed through both houses and was signed by the President of the United States. So it was a really cool process to be part of, something that I think we're all proud of, that the park is finally named by how people know it. Like the original name, Jefferson National Expansion Memorial, came about in 1933 when the design for the arch didn't even exist. So that comes along in 47. The arch is completed in 65.
Okay.
So really, it was time for it to have a name that was that reflected what it is. Yeah.
That's a cool story.
Yeah.
Interesting. Some facts. We got to get into some other facts. Like we got to talk about the courthouse.
Yeah.
Obviously. So if you want to drop any information about that.
I'd be happy to.
Yeah.
We're really excited about the courthouse. That's the kind of the last piece of the CityArchRiver Project, but it is funded privately and by the National Park Service, with funding through a grant from the state of Missouri as well. And it is just such a cool project. We're proud to be part of that. It will make the building more accessible to more people than it ever has been. The building will have an elevator in it. It's first time in its history. So think about that, like 150-year history. And this is only the second major renovation the building's ever had. And until this renovation, if you had any sort of mobility issue, it was difficult to even get in the building. And once you're in the building, you're limited to the first floor. So now people can get to the second floor and enjoy all the courtrooms that are historic up there. The building will have fire suppression for the first time in its history. I mean, think about that. Like, this building is incredibly important, not just to our city, but the history of America, and it's never had fire suppression.
Right.
All the window air conditioning units will be gone.
Nice.
So central air and heating. And what's really exciting, I mean, those are all exciting, but what visitors are really going to see is the new exhibits. So Dred and Harriet Scott, which, I mean, that is a huge reason why that building is part of the National Park Service as a historic landmark. Their story had been kind of limited to a room off of a hallway. They will now have their own wing, the Dred and Harriet Scott Gallery, and it'll talk about their court case, which is obviously very important, but it's going to talk about them as people and the courage that it took for them to fight for their freedom and sue for their freedom, and went all the way to the Supreme Court, was originally heard in that building, went to the Supreme Court, and unfortunately the Supreme Court said that they were not people, they were property, and a major precipitating point of the Civil War. So, it's really important to talk about them as people, who they were, what it took to go through that process for them and their family. There will also be another exhibit gallery called Pathways to Freedom that will focus on African-American life in St. Louis at the time, and the 300 other freedom suits that were filed in that building. There will be a gallery on the architecture of the building, which is obviously very fascinating. And then there will be a gallery called See You in Court, where people can do the mock trials and learn about the justice system's role in our society.
So fun, especially like I'm thinking from a teacher perspective, kids and field trips. I mean, we went on a field trip.
I went there in school, and I think we did a mock court thing, but it was probably a lot different then. But I think that being able to do that and show the kids that full experience, and not even just kids, anybody, but
you learn more from the actual experience and the engagement of that.
That's amazing. I remember that field trip vividly, and that's so cool what you guys are doing. So you have been a huge advocate for this civic momentum that's basically been building. And if you look around downtown, from downtown west for where the soccer team, all the way to what you guys are doing at the Arch, like so much stuff is going on downtown. There's a lot of momentum.
Yeah.
I read in the Post-Dispatch that you guys, like, ticketing is up like to an all-time, like maybe not an all-time high, but you guys have been seeing a lot more visitation.
Yeah, absolutely.
So tell us about that a little bit.
It's been really interesting. The project, the renovations were completed in mid 2018, and I mean, think about that timing. We had a year and a half of normalcy, whatever that means at this point.
Right. Long gone.
Right. Mm-hmm. So you had a year and a half, and then COVID hits, the Arch shuts down, and then it decimates visitation to attractions like the Arch. I mean, you think about, indoor attractions, right? And then getting in a tiny pod,
space.
That's the last place that people wanted to be at that moment.
I have to hand it to the folks at Bi-State Development that run kind of the visitor experience of the Arch, and the folks at the National Park Service, and the creativity that they showed to reopen that that element of the Arch experience and still make it really memorable and special for folks. That was not easy. And I just cannot say enough or give enough credit to them for figuring that out. So, if you think about it, our visitation in, pre-pandemic was just over 2 million. It dropped down to under 500,000.
Oh, wow.
So now we are back up to just under 2 million. Okay. Our visitation was up 42% over 2022 was up 42% over 2021. And already we're seeing above a 30% increase over 2022 in the first half of this year. So we're just seeing some incredible momentum down at the Arch. And, downtown has its challenges. I mean, there's no getting around that, but downtown has a lot going for it. And we can't forget that. And, everything that we do is part of that momentum and energy, whether it's all of our programming, Winterfest, Blues of the Arch, our yoga, health and wellness series, our Rock on the Riverfront series. It's all part of creating spaces and experiences that are safe and enjoyable for everyone. And that, again, I would just encourage people to come check that out. So whether it's our programming, whether it's the funding that our donors are pushing into continuing to evolve Keener Plaza, the Arch Grounds, the Riverfront, or whether it's just, our organization's investment in downtown through, I mean, we lease about 20,000 square feet of office space in downtown St. Louis.
Yeah, I did see that recently. The new office looks incredible.
Oh yeah, so we're going to move into a new office in the Peabody Plaza building in July.
Wow.
And we also leased 10,000 square feet for the collections and archives of the National Park Service with our partners J&PA at the old post office. And then we lease space for the National Park Service during the construction project, because normally they'd be housed in the old courthouse. So, I mean, we're committed to downtown, and we are not the type of organization that just sits back and watches things happen. We're going to roll up our sleeves and be part of solutions.
So with the increase of visitors, do you think a lot of that, like how much of that are you seeing from out of town?
Yeah. It's
is that trackable?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to track that. The way, the Arch Grounds is a very porous park, right? So they you can enter from lots of different spots. So I don't know off the top of my head, out of town versus in-town visitors. Tourism hasn't completely rebounded. Both, personal tourism has rebounded. Corporate travel hasn't rebounded quite like it has, and that affects out-of-town visitation.
Right.
So we're seeing more, just anecdotally, local usage of the park as an urban park, which was one of our goals.
Yeah,
so,
you want to see that.
Yeah.
You want to see people coming back down.
Yeah, and I think out-of-town visitorship is going to increase along with tourism trends in general.
Yes. Yeah. So let's talk about some of the other events that are happening, because we've got Winterfest, which I don't know if we've actually ever gotten to experience, like even.
We didn't get the igloo experience, but when I was working down there, I walked down there. I would walk down there.
Ice skating and everything.
Blues at the Arch. Kinfolk was just down there playing on the riverfront. They're one of my favorite bands.
Oh yeah,
I love Kinfolk. Yoga.
Yeah.
Now that it's summer break, every Tuesday, that's my thing. I'm like, okay, I have like 3 friends who are teachers. I'm like, are we ready? Let's go.
A lot of the stuff that you're doing is free, but also you have program ticketed events like the Blues Brunch and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like these free events, people like need to experience what's going down there. They have to just go and show up. Tell us about some of the events. Which ones do you come out?
What's your favorite?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, well that's like picking,
that's hard. Yeah.
That's like picking one of your children. I don't know if I could do that. I think first of all, thank you for going to the events, and they are, you hit on something, Lucas, that's really important, is that a lot of it is free. I mean, for Winterfest, yes, you rent an igloo, which comes with food, and you can rent skates, but you can also skate for free if you have your own skates. If something isn't free, we want to make it really as accessible and affordable as we can. Like, for Winterfest, I mean, Ameren and St. Louis Blues have, in various different ways, have supported certain free nights for skating. Yeah. Blues supported Kids Skate Free on Friday nights. So it's really, really important that we're making our events, our programming accessible to everyone. And I mean accessible in every sense of that word, whether it's, diversity in being inclusive in the way that we program these spaces, from a cost perspective, accessibility from a perspective of if people that might have a disability or mobility issues, can they go to these events? I mean, all of that are things and lenses that we look through with our programming. So yeah, I mean, the weekly yoga series, we had a board meeting this morning, and we had it in the new building.
Nice.
And I was driving there, getting in early, and I saw folks with their yoga mats, walking away from Keener Plaza. So that's really, really cool to see.
Nicole does a great job.
Yes,
She's
Nicole is awesome with Citra. Yeah,
she's so good.
Yeah.
Good energy. Like it's always
a good way to start your day.
7 in the morning. Here I am, but like it is so worth it.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and we're really grateful for that partnership with her. I mean, in all of these programs, we have great partnerships with folks like Nicole, the chef that we partner with. On Winterfest, Jawan Rice. I mean, he is amazing.
JR, we've had him on the show. He's a friend of the show.
JR,
yeah,
man.
Incredible.
Watch JR.
He's a young stud.
He's
a stud.
Killing it, and he's going places.
Yes, he is.
Not only just the talent, but he's just a good guy.
Yeah.
So we
so
really,
young too.
Yeah, we really enjoy working with him and all of our partners, whether it's Nicole or the collective, working with them on yoga at the Arch. We'll do that in September.
Yep.
Blues at the Arch obviously is just a great event and festival, and we hope that becomes more of a tourism draw now that we've made it a weekend. Is
that August?
It's August 11th through 13th.
Okay,
yeah.
11th through the 13th.
And then Rockin' the River. So you mentioned Kinfolk. We started Rockin' the Riverfront probably 2 weeks ago. And our programming team, Camille and Jason, they're just amazing. And they kicked this off. It's gaining momentum. And it really, we're trying to just add vibrancy and activity down the riverfront, just for folks that are already there and to bring folks down.
I agree, because I love the fact that you're doing that. So we were just in New York, and you go to Central Park, and there's different activations throughout, going on throughout the park. And what you guys are bringing is a family's in town for the Cardinals game, and then they walk down to the Arch Park, and then you see this great band just playing music. It's just in the background, but you're just walking through. You're like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And and Kinfolk is just great friends of ours, so we need to get down there for that, just to go hang out. But yeah, I love what you guys are doing now and with those events. And then also with 630 Day, there's tons of reasons to love the Arch.
Yeah.
630 reasons.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys have a post lined up of how many toasted raviolis it takes to reach the Arch.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I remember we were deep into COVID and we were like, how many Bernie Sanders can we stack up to meet the Arch? Like there was so many deep COVID things where
done
people
that
were
math.
stacking
I know
arts.
we have.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many T-Ravs it is specifically, but I know I've seen that.
That was deep in
it.
pandemic when everybody was like, how many
We had too much
how
time
many
in our
four hands
hands.
beer cans? Shout out to four hands. How many four cans beer cans
Would
like,
it take?
Everybody was like making their own spin on it.
Yeah.
But what is STL has so much meaning to everybody, but what does like the city of St. Louis mean to you? I mean, I know we've been talking about it. I know that's a tough question, but if you could put something into your own words of like what this city actually means to you.
Yeah. That's a tough question to answer, but because it does mean so many different things to me. And I think it's kind of special because I'm not from here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was born in Springfield, Illinois, but grew up in Jefferson City. Moved here for high school, and this city has given me so much personally. Whether it's opportunity or experiences that and it's not just I'm in the city a lot because I work there and I live there, right? But the entire region has so much to offer and appreciate. And I think, as a region, we often get a little too down on ourselves.
Yeah.
And we need to celebrate who we are as a community and what we have to offer. At the same time, we need to be really, really intentional and thoughtful about solving and addressing the challenges that face our community. And some of them are really, really serious, right? So, we can both celebrate our community and our region and acknowledge the challenges that we have. We can do both things at once.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think, sometimes people that aren't from here are our greatest ambassadors, like that can that evangelize what St. Louis is to the whole world. I think people that are from here are again, it's not to say that make a broad generalization like that, but I think if we can celebrate what we have to offer as a community more while addressing our challenges, I think that's really important. But in terms of what St. Louis means to me, again, like I live in the city. I'm raising my family in the urban core, so that's really important to me. Mm-hmm. And it's important to kind of live out what we're
what you stand for.
What we stand for, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
Yeah,
I think so too. Opportunity, experiences, memories. Like, we've been living in the city for 5 or 6 years now.
We moved here
and this bucket list was created in the city. You know what I mean? Like just exploring and focusing, kind of like what you're saying, like on, yes, we don't ignore the faults of the city, right? But we also want to highlight and bring up and appreciate the people who are doing things to make this city what it is.
Right. And we focus on that positive light. So our only mission with STL Bucket List is people, places, and events that make St. Louis special.
Yeah.
Those can happen in North County. Those can happen in South City. Those can happen in West County. That's still St. Louis. Like Open Highway, we just had them on last week. It's like we're promoting that event because that's bringing live music to places that people want to go see live music.
Absolutely.
And what you guys are doing at the Arch, what your team that has, every time you guys have events, you guys send us DMs like, hey, like we have this event, let us know. We include it on our page, and I think that's how you build a brand. You build a brand by finding your niche and just locking in and doing that. And similar to what you guys are focused on downtown. If your office was somewhere else, then it's like, are you really focused on downtown? So I really appreciate how you guys, and the space looks incredible. So
when we move in, we'll have you all.
Absolutely.
And I don't want to leave this room without thanking you all for what you do for the community in terms of, like you said, highlighting all the things that are going on in St. Louis that maybe people don't know about. I mean, that's really cool, and I should not leave here without offering my gratitude for that.
I appreciate that. So we cannot leave the episode before we ask you, what is your idea of an STL bucket list? So I'm going to explain the question for you real quick.
All right.
Because it means different things to everyone.
Our idea of an STL bucket list is different than yours. So if you're have a day with your family and you have nothing to do, which is very rare, I'm sure. But let's just say it's a Saturday and you guys are going to go do some things with the family. Like, what restaurants are you going to go eat at? What experiences are you going to do? What park may you want to go to with your family? What's on your STL bucket list?
Yeah. Oh, that's a tough question.
Do your kids love the Arch?
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
They call it Daddy's Arch.
Oh,
and,
wow.
and I have to correct them. It's like the Arch belongs to all of us.
Yes.
But so it's a tough question because there is so much to do here,
Right.
and also I don't want to like leave anybody out. But I got to tell you, so I'm just going to name a lot of things. But so outside of the Arch, right? But we live right next to Tower Grove Park.
Yeah.
So that's kind of our neighborhood park. That's where I run as much as I can, not as much as I should. All the restaurants that are in Shaw, whether it's Sasha's or we just got Bailey's or the Gallery pub on Thurman. Yeah. We go to Forest Park a lot, and all of the institutions that are in Forest Park. We often we go to church at the Gathering United Methodist that's in the city as well, and every Sunday our thing is going to Felix's in Dogtown.
Oh yeah, good spot.
So they all know us they know the entire family
they know
pretty well there.
Your order, yeah.
Right. There's just so many places downtown that our office goes to all the time. But I think for me, a bucket list day in St. Louis is just doing things and going to places that where our family can relax, feel welcome, and I think my wife and I both really want our kids to have an appreciation for the city. Yeah. And so we do take them to a lot of places like
that's awesome.
And I think, I like to think that they have gained that appreciation and respect. So that's kind of, I don't know if I answered your question.
No,
but
that's good.
Yeah.
That's actually a really good answer.
Yeah.
And that's your bucket list. Everybody's bucket list. Like, we go to different places, it's like everybody has this idea of like, hey, when my kids after church, we love to go to Felix's. That's like your bucket. That's like on your Sunday.
That's your
Sunday bucket list.
Right.
Like, it doesn't have to be this extravagant thing. And that's what I try to tell people. And we try to spin the meaning on bucket list on like, no, bucket list is just things that you love to do. It's not like, oh, I want to do this.
I've got to do this before I die.
Right.
Yeah, like
right.
that's the real term of what bucket list means.
What makes
we
you
changed
feel
it.
good?
We changed it.
We do
for
it
what
the St.
Again,
Louis
your
St.
meaning
Louis
is much
way.
more positive.
Yes.
Yeah.
We don't want to talk about
we don't need that.
Yeah, we don't.
It's
It's
what
just
makes
like
you feel good.
this is your bucket list for living.
Yes.
Right.
What do you live for? Exactly.
Ryan,
we live for
thank you so
Felix's
much.
Pizza.
Thank you so much for making the time to come on and what you guys are doing and you and your entire team that puts on these events that really has been a catalyst in revitalizing what we have there. And we really need to show people. So this episode comes out. We're going to post a bunch of pictures in celebration of 630 Day and really just push this out. And I hope that people that can listen to this will find a way to come down there and go to one of those events. So we're going to drop a calendar and some stuff like that.
And
so
I wanted to add too, like how people can support or donate. And
I was just
that's
gonna
very important. That's what I would like people to know.
So not only coming down to the events, obviously we want everybody to come down and enjoy those, but we can't put those events on without support from the community. So at our core, we are a philanthropic organization. So our purpose is to raise money and support for Gateway Arch National Park and surrounding areas, mainly Keener Plaza and the riverfront. So you can go to our website, archpark.org, and just click on support. And there's lots of different ways that you can support. Mainly, for just folks in the community, becoming a member. That's the best way to start, right? So become a member. You get some benefits like tram passes and parking, and a lot of discounts, a lot of other things that go along with that. But really, the core of that is you're supporting the thing that symbolize our park that symbolizes us to the whole world. So, I'm biased, but I think that's a really special thing to be a part of. Yes. And when you're supporting the foundation, you're supporting all of the events that we talked about, and the renovations that we talked about. I mean, again, we can't do that without community support. So really, we're grateful for the folks that are already doing that and hope that more will come along with us.
Are you guys doing a gala?
Yeah, so we actually do two fundraisers a year. 2.5 maybe, but like we do Picnic in Your Park, which just happened on Sunday. And then we do a gala iconic evening, which is always around the anniversaries of the completion of the arch. So this year it's on October 26th.
Okay.
So Thursday. And it's at the Arch Visitor Center. So, you get to be part of a gala that's supporting the arch at the arch. So that's awesome. Really cool. And it involves tram rides and obviously a really nice dinner and great music and drink and fun. Awesome. So, and then we do a 5K attached to Winterfest. So the Saturday before Thanksgiving, we're now doing a 5K. This will be our third year doing it. So those are like events you can do to support our efforts.
Fun.
Okay. We'll do the 5K. Then we'll do the gala.
Yeah, there you go. That's great.
We've been into 5Ks a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just 5, not 10. Just 5.
No,
don't push it.
5K is my limit. I can't do any more Ks.
That's good. Yeah, no more Ks.
No more Ks, only 5. That's my limit.
That's hilarious. So, but yeah, Ryan, thank you so much for coming on. Really, guys, another way to support is just go on social, share these events, go to these events and then see what's going on downtown. Like you said, like just show up and just see what's happening and
bring your friends.
Be surprised, bring the whole family.
Yeah.
Picnic at the park was a cool thing, but there's a lot of free stuff that you just show up, watch them play, go do yoga. I mean, we'll list all the events. We'll make a bucket list for the events.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be great.
We'll put it out.
Yeah.
But other than that, man, thanks for coming on.
Oh my gosh,
Really
thank you so much.
Yeah, it was great to meet you.
Wonderful to be with you all today. Thank you.
And we'll see you guys next Wednesday.
What's up, St. Louis? Don't forget that Mattress Direct is another sponsor of our episode. And if you guys are looking for a great night's sleep and a great shopping experience for your mattress, head over to Mattress Direct.
Guys, the website's stlmattressdirect.com. They have 18 area locations. There's a chance that you're pretty close to one. There's something different about shopping local. So go head over there, get yourself a good night's sleep. And this episode is also presented by the Regional Arts Commission of St. Louis. They're the largest public funder of arts and art programming right here in St. Louis. And if you didn't know, St. Louis is an arts town.
Today, they rep St. Louis, yeah. They rep St. Louis. They rep St. Louis.